Huawei was the primary target of U.S. semiconductor sanctions during the first Trump administration, and they intensified during the Biden presidency. And Huawei is a major, huge company here. And so the thinking went that if the United States and Europe cut off exports of Western technology to Huawei, they would never be able to catch up. It was the nuclear option to halt China's rise, is how Bloomberg called it 6 years ago. I can't help but notice that most of the people I meet here in China have the newest Huawei phones, which should not exist according to all these analysts here. Huawei isn't merely surviving, but they're thriving. Huawei 2024 revenues, nearly back to where they were when all these sanctions started. A sharp jump in 2024, core businesses of telecommunications and consumer, smartphones and computers growing faster. Sales up 38% year over year in that segment, company-wide up 22.4%. And what Huawei did in their electronics was also being done economy-wide by thousands of other technology, finance, and energy companies here. It was an official directive dubbed Delete America, but it applied to all foreign software at use anywhere in Chinese systems. The purpose was to focus on building domestic supply chains to source everything important, basically, computer chips, military hardware, to food. So this is where things stand now for Huawei. They're much better off today compared to a few years ago. 70% of Huawei's sales are here in China. In 2020, 42% of U.S. imports were inbound China. Now it's 13%, less than a third previously. And this is another striking difference between then and now. Huawei and China's high-tech industries were heavily dependent on U.S. technology, our hardware and software. Now it's the other way around. The U.S. is dependent on China for essential semiconductor chips and the tech that goes into our phones and our computers. The White House implemented a 145% across-the-board tariff on Chinese goods, then backed that off to 20% a few days later when somebody realized that for this wide range of computer-related products, laptops, drives, displays, devices, chips, it is now we who are dependent on China for all those things.